Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Teresa here with the first full page spread from my 2021 Project Life album. This is the first half of January, and so my strategy for this year is to continue with bi-monthly layouts where possible, and where I only have enough for one page spread, then I'll just do a monthly layout. That may happen from time to time, just depending on our schedule and what life looks like, and of course adjusting for social distancing and virtual homeschooling. So I am working with the new chapter kit from Cocoa Daisy. And you'll see here I'm starting with the January card that was included in this kit. And so I'm just going to add a very simple 3 chipboard pieces. I used the 2 arrows and the circle that notated the year again. And of course the card already says January, and so that fits in with what I'm using the card for, which is the title card. And so I really liked this little tiny floral pattern that was included in the kit. So I used this card and then layered a second card over top of it to have space for journaling. And I've been doing this a lot recently, and that is putting a journaling card directly underneath the title card and using that as a jumping off point. That seems to be a good place for me to start, that I feel comfortable with, and I like the look of that. And it just jumps right in to the stories of that week, or in this case, for the stories for the first half of January. And so I'll share with you a couple of those stories. We got the new Mario Kart game, the one where you drive Luigi around the living room. And oh, we've had so much fun with that little car. It's adorable. And so I have a couple of photos of that. There's also a photo from putting together Nick's chair after Christmas. And always pictures of the cat. She always seems to be showing up somewhere. We still had our Christmas tree up at that point, so there's a photo of the living room there. And then notice how I used this calendar card just to sort of notate a general idea of what the dates are. And I have always been a kind of person who did not... I'm in my Project Life spreads, I'm not so much interested in the dates, the specific date of each photo. I find that trying to focus on that great of a detail kind of overwhelms me. And so I just used the calendar card and highlighted. I took a literal highlighter from my desk drawer and just highlighted the weeks that were in here. And it's basically just January 1 to the 17th. I know that some people get confused. Where should they start their Project Life album in January? And I've done a combination of ways. I've started it with December 29th. For the first week, I've started with January 2nd as the first week. It just worked out with this, with the way that I'm doing bi-monthly spreads. It just worked out to just do January 1 to the 17th, I think is what it ended up being, or January 1 to 18, I'm not sure. So I added a little bit of stamping there, and then you also saw me add just a couple of tiny embellishments to the photo of Nick up in the top corner of this side of the layout. And then I'm moving forward to the right hand side. And so every layout needs a little bit of black and white. So I used the polka dot pattern and then layered a very simple chipboard piece on top of that. You'll notice how I usually do an alternated pattern for my 3x4 cards. And if you followed me for any length of time, then you're familiar and you can see it going across the layout now, where starting from the left-hand side, I have a journal card, a photo, a filler card with the date, a photo, a filler card, a journal card that I'm working on right now, another photo, and then I'll probably have a filler card at the end as well. And I find that alternating the 3x4 cards like that just helps me to stay organized in the layout. It also holds me accountable for journaling more than just one sentence. And so I freely admit that sometimes I take the easy way out on my journaling, but when I make sure to include at least 2, sometimes 3 journaling cards, then it helps me to remember to write more of the story. And usually, because I don't ever work on Project Life in the moment, I'm always working retrospectively. So when I created these layouts, January had already come and gone for about a month. And that gives me some time to sort of process what's been going on. And the tendency, people tend to believe that you have to write a lot, or that if you're not journaling every day, then you're not journaling enough. There's a lot of schools of thought and a lot of different ways to do journaling in your Project Life layouts. Typically what I do is share a little about what's going on in the photos. I know Ali Edwards talks about sharing facts and feelings. And that's a really good way to look at it, to have a journal card that shares the facts and another journal card that shares the feelings. Or when you write about a particular event that you see in your photos, then write a fact and write a feeling or something like that. I tend to just think more about overall, what do I see when I look at these photos, when I've printed and gathered the photos together and laid them out on the page while I'm creating here. What are my overall feelings about what I see on the page? And it's kind of been fascinating. I know I took a year off from Project Life. I did. And so I guess I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I feel now that I'm jumping back into it. And overall, I'm really happy that I took the year off, that I gave myself time to process some of the things that were going on. Life went in whiplash speed last year. And I know most of us can relate to that. A lot of things happened really quickly. And now I have a little bit of space between all that happened, still going on, granted, but there's a little bit of space. And time gives us the gift of retrospection. And so now I'm able to look at the photos, and when you print out your photos for the week or the month, however it is that you're doing Project Life, look at them overall, step back and see what it is that you see in these photos. And what I see is actually really amazing, given that we're still in uncertain times, given that there are still challenges ahead of us, given that this was the first 2 weeks of the year, which if you lived in America, the first 2 weeks of the year were still quite stressful and eventful. I also wanted to comment that I made the conscious decision to not put the headlines in my Project Life album. And I want to just say that because it was interesting, I printed out some magazine or some headlines from different websites, and I thought really long and hard about whether I wanted to include current events, and the specific current events for this time period were the inauguration and the insurrection at the White House, right? And I decided for now, that I'm not going to put those in there. That's a personal decision, but I wanted to just say that it's okay if you don't. And it's okay if you just document what is happening in your home, in these albums, that you have that permission. And you have the permission to still create layouts that remind you this is the path that we are making out of the darkness. This is how we are surviving. This is how we are living right now. Whatever that looks like for you, you have that permission. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you will check out the blog post that goes along with this layout. Also, if you want to learn more about my behind the scenes process for Project Life and how I have successfully documented Project Life for about 8 years now, you're invited to join us in the classroom. Check out the links to the classes below for the In My Pocket volumes 1 and 2, specifically focus on Project Lifestyle memory keeping, and I hope to see you there. Thanks again, you guys. See you again soon. Bye-bye.